Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Spark of Genius Flesh and Blood production. Another episode of Spark to Your Genius. And we haven't recorded one of these in a little
It's been a
while
while.
because, honestly, there were points where we probably could have released something about, battle hardened results and talking about the meta and this and that. I feel like it cheapens the experience a little bit because I
The
feel
experience. Yeah.
that, well, it's just a matter of this is a podcast ish kind of segment, right? So I feel like it's easier to display things like that via deck text. Like, hey, this is what happened to Battlehard. No.
Okay.
We're gonna ask Denny to come on. He's gonna talk about the deck. He's gonna talk about his experience. I don't want to just be like, this was the meta at the Battlehard and this
Right.
happened. Cool.
It's something people
So
could also read up on themselves or for
yeah,
themselves, and
there's articles on FaB about literally that. So like I'm kind of shying away about those kinds of topics for the podcast. Everyone else talks about it already, anyways. So
Mhm.
um, we are talking about. So this is going to come out 31st. So happy New Year for whoever's
Yeah.
watching this on your time zone. It's going to come out
Or
on
I
the
guess if
31st
you're in New
PST
Zealand,
for
it's already
you're in
New
New
Year's.
Zealand. Our APAC listeners slash viewers.
Hmm.
Happy New Year. Hope your 2023 is full of love, laughter, and
And
fab.
FaB.
Does it start with an L? Love, laughter, and
Live, live.
oh, I'm gonna have to think about that. You're gonna have to come back to me on
What's the
that one.
acronym?
Live, laugh, love.
Live,
Live, laugh,
laugh,
love. I
love.
think. Live, love, flesh and blood. Okay. Anyways, so I just want to start off here. We have like the OP 2023 article. We're gonna talk a
Yep.
little bit about like state of the game right now, as we kind of see it rolling into 2023, and then in the 2023 section, we're gonna kind of break it up into
Yeah.
like FaB in 2023, right? Like our
The
wish list,
future
both
of FaB.
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, the future of FaB, our wish list, the competitive event season, why we have like OP, and then like the product release cycle slash schedule, right? Because of course James
Yeah.
White has been talking quite a bit about this in this article specifically.
Hmm.
But that being said, my name is Eric. I'm joined by Rob, my co-creator, co-commentator, co-caster, co-compatriot. Of course, I'm not gonna forget the intros, please. What do you take me for? Some kind of casual, some kind of filthy YouTube
Never.
We're definitely casuals.
Never.
That that is what just
Yeah.
was something I wanted to mention before. But as far as 2022, I
Yeah.
think James White kind of says it really eloquently. As the sun sets in 2020 on 20, I screwed up the first 5 words. As the sun sets on 2022, we can look back and say that it was the first year that resembled what flesh and blood organized play is intended to look like. I think that really sets the stage here because OP 2022 was the $1 million prize pool, right?
Hmm.
And that it really was the first year Worlds was a thing. Like every other year, like 2018 was the very tail end.
Yeah.
2019, 2020, 2021, there was no Worlds. Like it was kind of just the game was in its infancy. It wanted to really take off here. Pretty crazy highlights here. 40,805 armored events.
Yep.
Wow. 1,220 skirmishes across 2 seasons, 296
Actually
road to
a
nats.
lot as well. Yeah.
It's a lot. For
37 national
37 national champions,
championships. We had
601 pro
two
quests.
in Canada. So a lot of
We had
countries, I think, had
2021,
two.
2022. Yeah, yeah.
A lot of countries only had one, and some
True.
had none.
True. Pro quest, 30 battle hardens, 12 callings, 3 premieres because there were 3 sets.
Yep.
2
Two
pro
pro
tours
tours.
and 1 worlds. So, I mean, I went to a fair amount of these events. I went to Worlds.
Hmm. We
I
went to
went to
Worlds. You went
we went to
to
Worlds.
one pro tour
We went
together
we
in
went
New
to we
Jersey.
went to the USA, the Jersey one.
Yeah.
I went to Las Vegas premiere. I don't
Yeah.
think you
I
did.
missed that one.
Yeah, I went to the premiere in Vegas for Uprising.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't go to the tail. I didn't go to the Tails one. I did go to the
That's
Uprising.
that's when you opened a box of Uprising with Oliver,
Mhm.
and he pulled the cold
That's when
foil.
that's what Oliver no that's what Oliver flicked that cold foil fable
Yeah.
across the table.
I
Yeah, he
remember
got
that one.
Blood of Jakai and he got a cold foil crown of Providence. It was a good box. It was a
Above
good box.
average box right there.
Slightly on the seated side, but
Yeah.
completely fine.
They give those judges some
Um,
nice boxes. But yeah.
yeah, tell me about it. So played in a fair amount of these events. We casted the Battlehard in Toronto, the first Battlehard in Canada.
Right.
Hopefully
Yeah.
we'll see some more in 2023. And played in a bunch of ProQuest roads. skirmishes, all the kind. So we've been in
Like we've
the
experienced, I think,
yeah,
this
the
to
gamut.
almost its fullest. I think we've been
Yeah,
to
'cause
most
we
of
did
these. We're
PT
not
World.
just kind of talking from the sidelines. We've been to a lot of these.
We've been to these, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I think where is the game? Where do you
Right.
think the game is like right now going into 2023? So like just 2022,
Yeah.
how do you think it kind of fared? Where do you think the game is right now?
Yeah. I mean, so being someone who plays in local armories, being someone who has attended these high level events, not as a player, but just kind of going for fun as a fan of the game, just
Yep.
going to see artists, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The game is healthy. I think I don't see any signs that this game is really slowing down. Even from a financial point of view in these current times, I think people are still showing up and playing the game. I've seen a pretty substantial growth in armories here in Ottawa. We have three
Yep.
stores now that run events regularly. We've had an uptick in players. I've seen new faces all the time, and I think armories get between 12 and 16 players pretty regularly. So
Mhm.
I have no reason to believe the game has been slowing down. I think it's been growing, and the knowing that there is a pro circuit that has this much invested into it only speaks good things. I think
Mhm.
there's $1 million in prize pool. That is absolutely insane. First place of the
US,
world
USD too. I mean,
USD. That's
USD
like
is
thirteen
that's
hundred
that's the
or
currency.
1.3 million Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah.
So looking at the first place of Worlds, $300,000, I believe. No, it was $100,000.
I don't actually remember. No, 300,000 was the total
That
prize
was
pool, wasn't
total.
it?
I'm sorry. So I think it was like 100K. So that's not a small chunk of change. If you're a competitive player and you're looking for a way to turn that into a living. Uh, this game actually has it, and it's an early game, right? It's a young game. It's been around only for 4 years now. I mean, only. It actually seems like it's been around a lot less than it actually has been. Like 4 years is a long time.
Vintage is 4 years old, which is hilarious to say out loud with games like Pokemon and Magic and
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff like that.
So knowing that this game has a really well funded pro scene, that's great for pro players because it means you can make a career out of this. Really, that's a nice salary if you can win these things. But for the casual side, it's okay. I'll put it that way. Like the casual side, the armories are great. I think that's
Mhm.
probably one of the main vehicles for casual play, really, besides the kitchen table, which I do also. But I think that maybe this is going to be leaning more into like the wishes for the next year. But I think like some kind of PVE would be amazing for the
Yeah,
casual
no, no,
scene.
no, no, don't get into
I
that.
won't crisscross my thoughts. So anyway, I think the
No,
game's
we're talking about
healthy.
2022
I
here.
think
Yeah.
I think we're in a good spot. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I echo a lot of those thoughts. Obviously, I'd like to think I was a little bit more than casual. Of
You were
course, I
more
did.
competitive than I was for sure because
I
you've
didn't. I didn't
played in
play
some of
in.
these events.
Yeah, I didn't play in world like I played in the calling.
Yeah,
My peak of competitiveness was Pro Tour One. Like that's in
yeah,
that season I played a lot. I brought Lexi. I day two'd. Like I was reasonably like okay with my performance given my given my nudity to the deck there. Well, I
nudity.
qualified
Yeah,
for yeah. It's not a word. Don't worry about it.
it can be.
Well, I did qualify for PT in France. I ended up not going
Yeah,
because
that one was
France is
it's a bit
far.
more challenging for us to travel there. Yeah, let's be
It's
honest.
also it was very clumped with nationals. I didn't like how close it was to nationals,
I
which was like
remember
a
that.
month later. It was in like August, and the nationals was like 3 to 4 weeks later.
September, I believe, right?
Yeah, yeah, but it wasn't like the end of September. It was
It's
like mid
mid
September.
September, like the 18th
So
weekend, I think, for Canada. Yeah,
yeah, so I did not like that I had to go fly all the way there and then go back and then fly to Ottawa. It was
hmm
kind of one or the other. So I obviously played in Nats instead.
yeah,
I was pretty happy with Nats. I mean, I bubbled out of top. I was like one win off of top eight, which
mm.
was much better than I did
The
in
year
the first
before.
Nats.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did it in day two. I bubbled out of day twoing. I
all right.
5-3 or something, or like no, I like 5-3-1. Yeah, I 5-3-1, and I couldn't top 24, which was very sad. But
Yeah.
point is, constant improvement. So but I'm definitely
It
at this
has
point
improved.
not at,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm definitely not nearly as competitive as I was kind of in that Pro Tour 1 season, I
Mm-hmm.
guess.
Yeah.
But I'm still like going to these roads, pro quests.
Yeah, and I
If there's
went
a
just to
close
play the
battle hardens.
calling. Pro Tour 1, I played calling there. Worlds,
Yeah.
I tried. Then there was the system thing that threw me off. But
You
I
gave up real quickly.
I
Yeah, I
did.
remember that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there was a
that's fine. That's fine.
bad seating. Anyway, yeah, yeah.
Anyways, my point is like from that kind of standpoint, I think the game is definitely healthy. On a competitive point of view, I think the routes, I think increasing the number of events just in different geographic locations is
Mm-hmm.
key. The pricing is like reasonable. I'm a
Yeah,
little bit more weary to say like you can make like I don't think you can make a living off this game yet. I think this game is very hard to keep making. Like
yeah,
players are just like they get better every year, obviously, right? And the more and more good players come in, like yeah, maybe you can make money regionally, kind of, but once you start having to pay for like travel costs, I think you really need to
yeah,
get like sponsorships coming in, and
yeah.
like that's where it
There's
really comes
Team
in. And
Dragon Shield
Fab is,
now, I
yeah,
believe,
yeah,
right?
Fab
Some
does
good
have some
sponsorship.
sponsor team. Yeah, they do have some. I think there's still a lot of room to grow there. I think my issue with 2022, if I had one, I think the events are fantastic. I
Yeah,
think World, especially, I had a ton of fun.
yeah.
I was just in the calling, but I had just fun with the
I
artists,
Yeah. I mean,
talking to people.
we have heard
It was
some
great.
negative points just about the venue itself, but that's a minor thing. I mean,
Yeah, the venue wasn't great. I think the sound echoing everywhere,
right.
and uh, I had a bunch of noise disturbances in the middle of a calling, tracking pitch stack as Oldham, which made me quite disgruntled.
Yeah, but
But
overall, it was a really fun
yeah,
event.
it was a really fun event. I think the main issue that I have with the kind of the competitive side of it is, oh man, I just lost it. Holy shit. I had one. I don't know where it went. It disappeared.
Just talking about these events
Uh,
and yeah, yeah,
oh man. I'll probably get back to it later in the video
yeah,
what I'll remember was my one issue. But like the major issue that
yeah.
I think most people had was probably the number of them in the location. Like traveling for these things is rough
Just having many of them
sometimes.
back to back, right?
Sorry, I remembered what it was, and I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me. It's the lead time. Like they give their
Okay.
lead time was questionable at best.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
a good
Pro
point. Yeah.
Pro Tour France, they pretty much said it was France
Hmm.
like 3 or 4 months in advance, and then gave no details until very, very close. In my
I
view, very close to the event.
Yeah, and I will point out that that is something that LSS knows is an issue. This came up, I believe, during the banquet at Worlds, where someone asked the
Yeah,
question, like, can we get, or more of a request, can we get some more lead time between events or before events? Because if we're planning our travel, we want to be able to take time off work. We want to be able to,
yeah.
book our tickets at a reasonable
Yeah,
time and
well,
not the
well,
weekend
shit.
before.
Yeah, you can't just drop everything and go to like a card tournament.
Yeah.
It's not a thing. A lot of people can't do that.
Nope. Nope. Yeah.
So that was like my one gripe, and that was mainly targeted towards like scheduling around PT France. I wanted to go to PT France. I
Yeah.
just the scheduling didn't make any sense, um,
Right.
and really only varying levels of extreme. Like very few players not living in that region could really make that kind of trip
Yeah, yeah,
back and
but
forth with
I do
the
believe they'll get
there.
better because they know it's an issue and they've been good at responding to criticism. I
Yeah,
believe
very
that
flexible.
the whole FaB 2.0 thing was a response at the market of the flesh and blood cards, right? And I think they responded well. I think they'll continue to respond well uh,
Mhm.
to these issues we've seen in OP in the past year.
Yeah, that's the only other thing I want to mention with 2022 is the sets themselves, right?
Hmm.
So we had
Uh,
Uprising,
Three
obviously
sets:
Dynasty.
Uprising,
Yeah,
Dynasty, and Everfest. I guess might have been early in the year. I forget
yeah. It
exactly
was
when that released.
Everfest, Uprising, Dynasty,
Yeah,
something along those
that's the
lines.
correct
Two
ordering.
supplementary, yeah, two supplementary sets and one core set.
Yeah.
Which we will talk about the set stuff in a little bit later when they actually address it directly. But
Hmm.
I think the set quality was fine. I think Uprising was a fantastic set to open. I think Marvels were great.
Hmm.
I think everyone still loves opening
That
those
was the
sets.
beginning of FaB 2.0 when they did away with
It
the
was.
unlimited first
Yep.
edition
I think
paradigm.
Everfest. Yeah, I think Everfest was a bad set. I really didn't like Everfest. Opening it felt very bad. Like
Hmm.
your cold foil for the box was like a potion, and you were just like it was
Yeah,
like potion echoes, and you're just like, why did like
yeah.
what? It
Mar-
just felt real bad.
Marvels
Um,
were a much needed addition, I think, to the
they
collectability
were,
and to the value, the EV of the boxes,
yeah.
because the EV of Dynasty and Uprising are actually amazing. I watched one of
Dynasty
yeah, I watched
is
one
a
of Rudy's
little bit suspect.
videos recently, and he
Yeah.
was just talking about how stores are, instead of selling sealed product, they're all just opening their boxes and selling singles. So
Sure. So singles are in like a relatively healthy place. I think there's like
yeah,
some speculation on cards vary depending on the set, like assassin, like surgical extraction buyout, some like shenanigans like that.
$40,
Sometimes
$50 card, yeah,
that'll happen. People will take their bets, but I think in general, I think singles prices are relatively healthy.
yeah.
I don't know where the game is going to go as far as market health. I think like
Hmm.
LSS is a business; they need to make money, obviously, and
Yeah.
LGSs need to make money too. I don't really know. Like, I think 2022 they did well. They did very well. I think it was the correct thing to switch off of the double release
Hmm.
kind of like unlimited first ed kind
Yeah,
of
it's a
thing.
logistical nightmare too.
It is, and I think that was right. I just don't know about the set has to be popular enough with a high enough. The issue is you're going to have two camps of FaB players. You're going to have the ones that started earlier that are used to like these really high EV
Hmm.
boxes, especially from the earlier stuff, the staples, the
Yeah.
high power level
You mean
staples. Like
CNC Strike,
Welcome
those
to Raid,
guys?
yeah, Welcome to Raid Arc, those kind of sets where like your EV is high, that you're just going to crack. You're just
Yeah.
going to keep cracking. Dynasty isn't like that. Dynasty is a very chase card set, right? You have a lot of like you have a couple really high value items. It's
Mm-hmm.
Marvel Soraya, Marvel Nitro, Marvel Emperor. But then
CNC,
you
yeah.
yeah, but then you open Rainbow Foil Emperor and you want to off yourself. Like it's a very like feast or famine. No, I'm just like
So,
when you look at it realistically speaking, it's a feast or famine set. It's a chase card set, and that's what happens when you add like marvels. Like you're adding more lottery ticket hits, which is fine. However, looking at like the singles markets, if too many people have the mentality that this set is only for scratch and sniffers, essentially, then you're going to end up with less people. Less first of all, stores are not going to crack the product to sell singles because the staples and commons and rares are the bread and butter because those are what
mhm,
multiple people buy, right? If they're
yep.
like stores are not going to go for the lottery, like they're just not, right? So
Hmm.
you're going to end up with this glut of product. I think Dynasty was mixed as far as receiving it. I think it's a fine set. I think
Yeah.
I know a ton of people that went ham on Uprising that bought very little Dynasty.
Yeah.
And that's because when they opened a little bit of it, they were just not impressed. And that has me a little worried. I think it's also partially that the supplementary sets are a little bit harder to please people as
That's a
far
good
as
point. That is a good difference to bring up. It is a supplementary set.
is.
Yeah.
I think that is something I want to address also. So I think we've talked a lot about 2022. Let's roll into 2023 here, right? So
Mm.
the first kind of thing I want to talk about is the state of the game going into 2023. Let's talk a little bit about like the meta game. We're not going to go into detail because we do have like
Right.
a
This isn't
kind
gonna
of
be like a tier list video. Yeah.
tier list video coming, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Another tier list one.
it's jury duty, but it's
Jury
tier
duty.
list duty. Um, a little bit about the state of the game. I think it's great. I think the
Hmm.
minute all those ridiculous like Starvo
Yeah.
shenanigans went out the window,
Yeah.
I think Chain and Briar were strong. Oh, Chain was very very strong. I'm gonna ignore Chain for now, but like
Chain.
Briar was
Prism.
strong but not unbeatable. Prism was obviously very good. Living Legend out.
Yep.
I think the meta is super super healthy. I think there are
Yep.
strong heroes. I think no hero beats every other hero.
Yeah.
There are not enough cards in your 80. There's 80 cards is not enough to just counter every hero.
Yeah.
It's
The
very good. There's top tier decks, but you could also comfort, which is I think Denny put this really really once. Like comfort was the most important thing. Is why he
yeah.
picked Lex,
Yeah.
and that wins tournaments now. Like no
Yeah.
hero is so unbelievably bad that comfort is not a good idea. Comfort is always going to be a good idea. And there's enough heroes that are in like a decent spot, like Dorinthia, Rhinar used to be like very comfort or bust, kind of like they were
Mm.
not considered higher tier
Yeah.
until obviously they started winning more events. Then you have like stalwarts like Bravo can win events. Obviously, Oldham is
Hmm.
still good.
Yeah.
Right, like all these hero Dash obviously. All
Yeah.
these heroes can win events depending on like if you can get a little bit lucky. Obviously, you can't get unlucky in every
Everyone
tournament.
needs luck.
How it works.
Even if you're
You,
playing the most broken hero, luck still plays a part.
you could be yeah, you could be the unluckiest person in the world. You're not going to win an event because of it, right? Like
Yep.
it's not. You could be the luckiest person in the world and win an event off that.
Yeah,
But
off Azalea.
it's not. Yeah, it's just not the other way around.
Yeah,
Uh,
but
so
I agree. Yeah.
yeah, the meta is really healthy, and I really like it. I really hope they don't print any stupid broken shit and outright outside.
It'll happen. It'll happen. No game is without its faults. I think they're gonna
Which,
eventually.
which is fine. I just really don't want some Starvo level shit just kicking about that they just like failed to see as good in testing. I think that's what they said. They said
Mhm.
in the worlds the bar there, it's like
Yeah.
someone asked like how did Starvo pass?
Right.
And they were just like they tested it and didn't see it as that strong or something along those
They
lines.
must
And I
have
was
not played like some of the more broken cards, maybe.
Maybe they just didn't think people would play the Unga Bunga list, but
Yeah.
everyone played the Unga Bunga list.
You
Like
know,
it's just
I think Unga Bunga probably appeals to most of the players, to be honest, because when you have a deck that's kind of more brain
Grail,
dead, it's
Citrus.
easier to enter into the deck. That was one of the reasons I played it. So it's like, hey, this is kind of fun.
Remember you played that guy in Jersey who had actual crayons? He was keeping
That
track
was
of his
so
life.
funny. Yeah, that guy was
That was
awesome.
crazy.
It was the
That guy
Starvo
was funny.
mirror, and it was the match to go into day two. So whoever
What it
won
did.
that
Yeah, it was
match, it
what
was
it
the
did.
win and win for
Yeah,
day two. Yeah.
what it did. Yeah,
So
what it did.
and it was a Starvo mirror, and the guy brought Crayola crayons, and he gave
Mark's
me the
life.
box, and he's like, pick a color. So we used his big Crayola colors to keep track of our health. It was so funny. I wish I could
Yeah,
contact that guy again. It was really fun.
he was
So
great.
yeah.
Yeah. I hope in Outsiders they don't like give some talented Azalea some crazy ass shit and she becomes like the best hero
Yeah.
ever. I don't know if
I
it's gonna happen or not. I just
yeah.
really don't think it's healthy for the game.
No.
I think one hero metas are fine. Like in chain meta, you were either chain or you tried to kill chain.
Or you
Briar
fatigue
meta, you
chain.
were either yeah, or you fatigue chain. In Briar meta, you were
Yep.
either ice or you were Briar. Like
Yep.
which is fine. Yeah, it invalidates some hero. It's not as healthy, but I think those metas are fine as far as practicing. Like it's very easy to test.
Yeah,
And the
that's a
innovation
good point.
doesn't. The innovation is not born from different heroes. The innovation is born from tech choices for cards. It's fine.
Yeah.
People will disagree and say no, that those formats suck. It's a matter of opinion. I think
Yeah.
those formats are fine.
I do think that
Um,
there is something to be said about people playing their pet decks, right? A lot of
yeah,
people have allegiances to certain heroes, and if their hero
there's a
starts to
preference.
suck,
Yeah,
yeah, if their
yeah,
hero starts to suck, they're just not going to want to play the game, So
yeah, that's
I,
fine.
I think the
Um,
current meta probably serves those people a little bit, a little better
yeah,
because they can
play it.
play their pet
It's all
decks and they can top eight. Yeah, yeah,
right. Yeah, I still think going into 2023, any deck can top eight. I think
yeah.
literally like
Maybe
very
maybe
few
maybe
like
Levy I can't, but
no, you can get lucky on Levy on
you can
top
get
eight. Like
Levy lucky. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Manstand did it. Like
That's true.
he's
That's
top
true.
eight.
It happened. Yeah,
Like it happens.
it happened.
Yeah. So going in here. So a couple things we're gonna talk about like wish list, competitive, and outright and outsiders. I keep getting like I think outriders is a better name for the set. That's what
Outriders.
that's what my subconscious
Reminds me of
is
Mad
telling.
Max.
That's
Outriders.
the exact thing I was thinking of. Wow, maybe we are related. That's actually crazy. Okay. Um,
Yeah, we can go into the wish list.
let's go to the wish list because you kind of like alluded to it already.
There's my answer.
Or
PVE.
maybe okay. Maybe we don't go to the wish list because I think some of the things on the wish list are kind of supposedly alleviated with competitive with this article that James White is kind of talking about, like the
Mhm.
timing of lead times.
Do you want to
So
scroll
maybe let's go
through
through
some of the
competitive.
stuff on
Let's go
the?
through the 2023. Yeah.
Sounds good.
So
Yeah.
he's going to be pleased to share some insights here. So
Hmm.
nothing really changes with the program structure. I think the structure was good. I think
Yeah.
it's easy to understand.
Yeah.
I think
Here
it's
he just
easy to
outlines that the
explain.
tiers, that the tier, what they mean, right? All the way up to tier four being like worlds and pro tours.
Yep. Yeah. Keep going down. I
Oh,
like this
he's a
little
nice graphic to
crown of
show
dominion.
exactly what. Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
like it.
There you
Like
go.
it. Love it. Prize monies. Yeah. Doesn't change. I think the prize monies was fine.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think
Worlds, what you're calling that's
it was a good amount of change. I think, you know,
it's just the breakdown of the million. It's not changing as far
yeah,
as
yeah. This adds up to a million. I think seven. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. It's just gonna quickly audit its math here, guys.
yeah.
Um, that would be
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
That is totally an LSS thing to do. If they like miscounted on the article, have to
We
take
made a mistake.
out. We made a mistake. Okay, what is changing? This is what I was talking about earlier. Major event scheduling and lead time They want more fans want more visibility. You think?
Oh yeah, and they
Um,
addressed it here. So I was talking about how they like might not address it or might address it. They've already
no,
talked about it. There
they're
we go.
addressing it.
Yeah.
Talking James White is like talking about, yeah, we're building out the capability. We've continued investing.
Mm-hmm.
He's confident in the improvement. Um,
Yep.
he sets. I'm fine with him just saying they know it's an issue. They're working towards it. They have been working towards it, and it'll come into more fruition in 2023.
Yeah.
I just want him to acknowledge it, and he did. I think it's pretty
It's
reasonable. Move through Q1 with more notice, obviously.
yeah.
I think
I love how you bring up that point when we just had like the whole Magic 30 fiasco. And
we did.
people, especially Rudy, just talking about how I just wish Wizards would acknowledge their problems, right?
No, why would they acknowledge their? Well, that would require Hasbro to acknowledge the
But
problem.
yeah, well,
Hasbro doesn't
that's
acknowledge anything.
so I really like that we're seeing a bit of a contrast
Dichotomy,
here
yeah.
with
Crap.
LSS.
Dichotomy. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I was making
Yeah,
a bad
sure.
joke here. Three main products, three main seasons.
Here we go.
I think this is kind of so. My initial thought is like it makes a whole lot of sense because that's how it was pseudo structured before. When you look about like the gap in seasons, like Road to Nats is going to lead into Nats. Like it's not shocking or anything like this. I
Right.
just like that. I'm a CPA by trade. I'm a finance guy. I like charts. I like deadlines. I don't like
You like
deadlines, but you know
money.
what? I like who doesn't like money? Don't give me that. I know you like money too.
I love
Um,
money.
it's it's like I just like attaching dates to things, and I like
Yep.
how he's like saying out like, yeah, no, this is going to be the season. There's going to be three products. Each product's going to have a season. I don't know
Mhm.
one person who liked playing Uprising for three main events in limited. I can't think of a
Oh yeah.
single person. Like having to do it in War for Worlds
Hmm.
in mixed, having to do it for Pro Tour 2,
Yeah.
like Pro so you have two tier 4 events using the same set for limited, which I think is
Yeah.
a little bit overplayed.
I think so too.
And Nats and Nationals. Nationals was also Uprising limited. So
Yep.
I think it was way as much. Don't get me wrong, I love Uprising. Like I really love the set.
Yeah.
I did love playing it for that long. It just like it loses luster because you learn everything, and the meta shift and the meta settled down. It's been a couple months, and then
Yeah.
you're like
Got a
month
little
6,
stale.
and you're like, all right, I guess we'll just find mirror. Oh, you roll second. Oh, I lose. Oh, like it's
Yeah.
not. It gets a little boring, and for big competitive events, it doesn't make any sense. So what have they done? March to June, July, September, October to January. I don't know why February's gone. I guess maybe it's like a break month or something like that. But
Is it gone? Oh yeah, it is gone. It's the cooldown
casually,
period. You know,
yeah, cool down. I think it's probably reasonable to have a cool down
people
period.
need
To
some
be
time to
fair,
sleep. Yeah, just relax
yeah,
a bit.
sleep's good. So they have Outsiders. So product wise, they have Outsiders expansion standalone set. This is the
Yeah.
biggest change that I see. Yeah, Pro Tour to one Pro Tour. Yeah, it's a big change too.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest change is moving to two core sets and one expansion, where
Right.
before it was two expansion, one core.
Yeah.
Right. The core was Monarch, Tails, and well, other than Welcome to Wraith Arc, which is a little bit different because that was a staggered release. But when you're looking at
Yeah, I
uh,
think this year might have only been the only year they released supplementary two times. Yeah, because Monarch and Tails are both core sets. So Monarch, Tails, and Everfest
True,
were
but the competitive season didn't really happen nearly to any
yeah.
level. They didn't have a Pro Tour back in
Yeah, so
August
for
set
the
on the season.
2022 year, it was two supplemental and one core,
Mhm.
which is what matters
Yeah,
here.
for the first year where they actually had Worlds and they actually had all the events that they scheduled for the 1 million OP,
Yeah.
that is the year they had two expansion sets in a core set. I'm not counting any other season. It doesn't really count because it's
Right.
not nearly the same.
2022 is really the birth of OP in the way that
It
the
was. It
company
was.
wanted it to be.
The way James and crew wanted it here.
James and crew.
So very important because you're gonna have a standalone set to mix in for limited.
Mm-hmm.
I think limited is gonna be the one that improves a lot because of this. I
Yeah.
think CC changes regardless. It doesn't matter whether you're on an expansion or a standalone. You're gonna get new
Yeah.
cards regardless for CC. So I
Yep.
don't think it affects standalone. I don't think it affects CC as much, but because he has actively said that hybrid events, and they have been Worlds, PT, Nats, these have all been hybrid events.
Mm-hmm.
Limited Elo has been something that qualifies you for all of these events. I think it's a big part of FaB. Very, very different crew. I'm a much better limited player than I am a CC player.
Mm.
I've made that very clear before multiple times. I like drafting a lot more, drafting building decks and playing much more than I do. I like CC, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
it bores the shit out of me if I play too much. Whereas
Right.
I can always draft. I love draft so much. I can play so much draft, right? And I'm
I
sure a
love
lot of
drafts. I get to open packs.
that's half of the reason because I'm just a like packaholic. Just like
Yeah.
I get to crack packs, and I just get to take the best card in the first one. Sign me up, right?
Yep.
I'll let that random crap at the end there. I don't have to take.
Oh man, yeah.
Um, but
Mhm.
I think the product thing's great. I think the other big thing here is the pinnacle events, right? So there's only going to be 3 events instead of 4 because there used to be Pro Tour 1, Pro Tour 2. Now it's just going to be one Pro Tour. This year it's going to be in the US. I don't know if that's going to be every year, but this year he said Pro Tour
There we go,
USA.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, so in 2023 he said USA, late April or early May, which is reasonable because Outsiders comes out end of March. So it gives people time to
Yeah.
digest and really like take into account what has changed in the meta here. Seasonal programs, Road to Nats Skirmish Season 6, July, September Skirmish Season 7. Skirmishes are usually Blitz, either Blitz only or Blitz sealed. I think those last season it was some stores had sealed, some had Blitz sealed. And then for World Champs is ProQuest. So, sorry, scroll up for a sec.
Yep.
ProQuest, October, January. Oh, sorry. He's not including the January 2022 ProQuest season. Sorry, the 2023 ProQuest
Oh yeah,
season.
yeah. So we're starting in March here. Yeah, 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 yeah. You're right.
Yeah, so he's talking about January 2024. This could be a ProQuest season for the Pro Tour that happens in
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
late April or May. I imagine if he does it the same 2023. So
Right.
ProQuest leads to Pro Tour. There's one ProQuest season because there's one Pro Tour. So because last year there were 2 ProQuest seasons.
Right.
The second ProQuest season started like the same week as Pro Tour 1. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Like it was literally I wasn't there for any of it because the first week I was at PT1 and the other 2 weeks I were on my honeymoon. So I didn't get to
That's
play
right. You
any
took a vacation.
ProQuest
Yeah.
for this season. But like it's kind of ridiculous that they overlapped for the same tier of like event
Yeah.
where these PQs were for some people the only way to get into PT2. So I found that ridiculous. But in this particular case, one PQ into Pro Tour, one Road to Nats into Nats, and then skirmishes for Blitz because
Yeah.
maybe he'll bring Blitz back for Worlds, which is a thing. People like to play Blitz. Some people actually like Blitz.
Yeah.
That's fine. I like Blitz sometimes, and we will bring Blitz back for skirmish season. We're not playing a ton of Blitz now. We will bring
Yeah.
it back for skirmish. I want to play some Emperor games. Like holy shit, that looks funny.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
what I'm trying to outline here is I really like what they've done with the seasonal pinnacle and product. Can't wait to see how that actually works out
Yeah.
and where the Pro Tour is. But we will try our best to go there.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay.
So if we scroll a little bit up here,
Yeah. Sure.
I think he's also right. So the number of reasons, so you're combining PT. So the one PT is going to be 200K instead of 200Ks. Makes sense. He's turning 2 into 1.
Yeah.
So here, more focus and resources into bringing competitive OP closer to home. And I like this too.
Yeah.
And specifically, he's focusing on battle hardens. We only got one battle harden in Canada. I think you can support more than one battle harden. Now, whether he's talking about a specific region of the world, I don't know. But increasing battle hardens to play 50 battle hardens up from 30 is a lot. Like that's 20 more. That's 2/3. That's a 66% increase. It's quite big. Now, what I don't want to see is him go from 30 battle hardens to 50, and those 20 out of those 20 battle hardens, 18 of them are in random cities in the United States.
Right.
Now, while I respect that there's a big population in the United States, adding it to random cities in random locations where you'll have a ProQuest in the major city.
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't know any like I can't name you 2 cities in Wisconsin or whatever. Like I can't.
My
I
U.S.
can't.
geography is abysmal.
I know where all the states are more or less.
Yeah.
But as far when you talk about cities, like I know the capital of Indiana is Indianapolis.
Mhm.
You ask me another city in Indiana, I do not know it. So if they add a battle hardened in that city that I don't know,
you got to look it up and figure out what state it's in, and then figure out if you want to drive or
I think there are some major cities in the U.S. like Seattle specifically that deserve like they're a hub of they've had a ton of Magic events in the past, a ton of other events. there are big cities in the U.S. that haven't gotten battle hardens that I think should get battle hardens.
Yeah.
Maybe Phoenix, maybe like cities like that. I just would hate to see all of them, like the majority of them, go to the U.S. Whereas, like, I think there are other places in the world that probably deserve more attention that haven't really gotten it.
Mm.
So that's kind of what I want to see.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if most of these were US, maybe 15. Well, maybe like 12 US and the rest kind of elsewhere.
I'm hoping it's 50-50. I'm hoping it's 10 in the US and 10 elsewhere. Like I'm very cognizant of the fact that the US player base is extremely large and takes up a big portion of the FaB player base. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not stupid, right? I went to Worlds. I know how many Americans were there.
Yeah.
But I also know how many international people were there, that some of them deserve a couple battle hardens here and there.
Yeah. Totally.
Canada can use more than one battle harden. You know, it's a big country.
There's only one ever, I think.
There was only one ever. It was
Canada.
Blitz. We had to essentially beg. So it was not pretty.
It didn't come naturally. It was kind of like we're doing this thing, like, oh, sure, we might get a battle hardened here, but yeah, it felt like it wasn't planned. It was kind of spontaneous, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they're talking about like the pricing structure for callings. I think that's fine. They're just talking about like the bigger callings should have a bigger prize pool.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's fine. I don't think that's super big here. Rolling on here, time to prepare for a release. This is kind of talking about the structure I'm talking about before, where a 2-week window between the release of a new set. So they're making sure people have enough time to like grasp it, and they know they're not thrown into like some other meta immediately.
You want breathing room.
Yeah, so it's like seasonal, like ProQuest roads, getting 2 weeks to just chill, talk about the cars, make a bunch of content, and then
like the overload part. Yeah,
I it's true though. I literally talked about the fact that ProQuest 2 overlapped with PT1, which made like zero sense to me. That like the season was 4 weeks. Like the ProQuest season was 4 weeks, and one of those weeks was just canceled out, right? Yeah. So they're talking about here, they're making it from set of 3 weeks. Set of 4 weeks, they're making it 3 weeks. Makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
I don't know why it needs to be a month long for each of them when you have like 3 different seasonal events, you have pre-releases, you have armory, and you have the bigger competitive stuff.
Yeah, I just can't play that much. Like
it's a lot. Now I understand. Yeah, other players have different schedules. They can only make certain things. I get it. However, the problem is that for people not wanting to fall behind, maybe for people that are like going too ham, and people that like the schedule just doesn't line up, right? Like it just doesn't, as far as like seeping into other things, right? But like they want to play more, but they just can't with this particular aggressive OP schedule here.
Yeah.
That tight timeline between Pro Tour and National Champs. Yeah. So it's exactly what I talked about. It's very real. Like it made me not go to France. Like I was thinking about going to France.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I can't swing it. It would have been very nice, but the amount of vacation you would have need right next to Nats in Ottawa.
Yeah.
Then you got to go to Ottawa, which is super difficult to get to. I don't know if anyone's ever been to Ottawa that doesn't live in Ottawa, that doesn't like live a couple hours away from it. It's a pain in the ass to get to.
It's cold.
Yeah, it's tiny little airport as far as international goes. Everything comes out of Toronto, essentially.
You're lucky I chauffeured you around.
Hey man, you're lucky people came to Ottawa. It's vice versa.
It's funny because we had our nationals in Ottawa, but I almost would have preferred if it was in Toronto, because like I don't mind flying down there for a weekend.
I don't want to go to Toronto. I don't want to go to Toronto.
You're done with Toronto?
Toronto is a fine city. It just, you know, every time I fly into Toronto, I'm like, wow, it's a smaller American city. Cool. Like that's literally what it feels to me. It feels just like a, wow, am I getting sidetracked here? It just feels like
what are we talking about?
It just has a very like American city feel as far as the general vibe. Now again,
but if it's not Toronto, where do you put it?
Toronto feels to me like a discount New York is what Toronto feels to me.
But we can't have our nationals in New York.
Look, I'm not saying it needs to be in Toronto. I'm just saying I think it should have been in Montreal, and I think that's probably where it's going to be in 2020.
That'd be nice.
Montreal's a great. I love Montreal.
That's where
food's
I'm from.
Great. Transportation's great. That I don't really care about, but I have a little family there.
Just saying.
I think Montreal is a great city, and I think it should be picked until that's my bet. If I was a betting man, I would bet Montreal as 2023
Mm,
or like Coin de Jeu or
We're
someone or
just
God's
moving.
Arena.
We're just moving further west or east. Sorry, across Canada.
I like how you're next to Montreal and you didn't know you were going east to get to Montreal.
Let's
That's
get my
great.
directions mixed up.
Oh my god. Anyways, it
Anyways,
is good to see that they're talking about this OP event overload.
yeah,
And then
it's a
they're
real thing.
announcing things. So they're talking about
Hey,
the first couple callings, battle harns.
yeah,
It's interesting that they're going back to Leeds in January. They had battle harn Leeds last time.
yeah. It
This
must
in
have
the
been
Royal
a
Memory.
popular location.
Calling Auckland, New Zealand. They haven't had a calling in a little while.
Yeah, poor
I want to
guys
know.
in New
I want
Zealand.
to know if this calling Indianapolis was like a deal they made with Michael Hamilton, so he didn't have to fly anywhere. Like, I want to know
It's part
why they're
part of
going to.
winning worlds is you don't gotta go anywhere. It's like it's in your backyard. Here's
But,
your calling.
but why Indianapolis again? Like, I get it in general, but why again? And why for the calling? Do you know what I mean?
I assume it just went really well the first time, and the turnout was great, right? I think it makes sense.
Look, why not Grand Rapids, Michigan, or some random? No, just kidding. Just a random city like that. I don't
They
know. I would
already
have
have
liked.
rapport with like the venue probably, so they can just quickly get it up again.
Yeah, it just seems like you're like, okay, you won Worlds. We'll give you a calling. Seems like that. I like some of the European ones. Belgium, I like that. Bologna,
Yeah.
that's very specific. Bologna, Italy. Bologna is, I think, a little bit out of the way, a little countryside there. Definitely not near Rome. We got to take a train to get up there.
Uh-huh.
Battlehard and Charlotte makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
North Carolina,
North
that
Carolina.
haven't had many events. Battlehard in New Jersey, just itching to go back to New Jersey. You know
Yeah.
who's
It was
not itching to go
fun.
back
You
to
don't
New
want to go
Jersey?
back?
I'm not itching back to go to New Jersey. All respect to people who are living in New
Well,
Jersey. That's
you just
totally
had a bad
cool.
experience with your airplane, with your ticket. Like that's it.
No, no, it wasn't just that. There were some really interesting smells and sights
Interesting
in New
smells.
Jersey. I think New Jersey is a fine place. I just don't know if I want to go back to there for an event. Like,
Okay.
I don't, it's fine. See caucus there. Um,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's
I
how you
mean,
pronounce it.
caucus, yeah,
Secaucus.
Secaucus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a fine place. I had fun at the event, but
Yeah.
yeah,
It
as
wasn't
far as
as far as California.
yeah.
Well, for me,
Okay, so
so for you, it's probably
that was
it was further for
yeah
you.
for me. So that
I'm
was a
East
little bit about the
Coast.
OP schedule.
All right.
Let's talk a little bit about the product. So let's
Yeah.
skip ahead to the products.
Here we go.
History Pack 1 Blitz
So
decks.
starting here is what we're gonna get first in 2023. Then down there is what's coming later. So History Pack
History
One.
Pack 1 Blitz decks. History Pack 2 Black Label. I don't know what's in
So
History Pack 2.
what the
I
heck
imagine
does
History Pack.
I was gonna
I
wonder
don't know.
what is the Blitz
I
deck?
don't know. I don't think anyone has any idea what heroes are in this History Pack 1 Blitz deck because there
Yeah.
are a lot of heroes in History Pack 1.
Yeah, that includes Crucible, right? So eight
It's
heroes.
Crucible.
Yeah, eight heroes.
Maybe it's like Kasai and like all the Blitz
Oh, and the
heroes from
Blitz
Crucible.
heroes. Oh, that'd be really cool.
Adadal, maybe?
I think that'd be cool. Yeah,
Alda?
a
I don't
Vault
know.
Blitz deck. Nice.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, as far as History Pack 2, I
Take
don't know what's in
yeah.
History Pack 2. So that's what because Ended Crew.
It's
So
probably gonna be
Monarch,
the Monarch, Tales of Aria, and Everfest sets.
yeah, because
It's
they don't
going to
have
be.
non-English printing because everything else.
Yeah.
Well, Uprising doesn't have English printing either, though. So maybe it
No,
includes
but you can't
Uprising.
include that many sets. That's gonna be History Pack 3, probably, right?
Can you though? Because I thought Outsiders is going to be the first set that comes in all languages. Like it's going to come out
Oh, is
in
that true?
English,
Oh,
French, Italian. Yep. I read somewhere it's gonna be the multi-language print is coming out all at once.
okay.
That's
I
what
didn't
I've
know
seen.
about that. So in that case, there are 5 sets that you could include in History Pack 2. Maybe they just go all out and put all 5, or they might
Oh
skip Everfest because of
yeah, because
something
being
coming up,
unlimited
because of the
something.
Unlimited coming out. They might skip Everfest and maybe do Monarch Tales Dynasty Uprising. Maybe.
Oh man, I'm gonna go.
It's a lot.
Man, that that the Marvel Prism is gonna be bananas. Like that card is going to be expensive.
Yeah, I mean
Like
Dory's already like one of the more expensive of the Marvels, like $600 roughly.
that's Dory. Now Think about that. Now think about Prism.
Is she just
Prism.
that far
Prism.
higher?
Prism mains will do anything to bling those decks out.
Hmm.
Anything. Living Legend, still bling it out.
Okay.
But yeah, maybe the fact that Living Legend doesn't means that it won't be as much. I'll probably look into getting like the Chain one, even though you can only be. But you could play it in Blitz. You could play Chain and Blitz. You could play Prism
Well,
and
the
Blitz.
Marvel one's the adult one, so
Yeah, it's true, but that's life, isn't it? That's life.
no one's gonna care.
So yeah, I'm interested to actually like get some History Pack 2. Even
Yeah.
though I really want History Pack 1,
You
but
just
like it's sold out so fast.
Yeah, you didn't have the luxury of opening another language, did you?
I did
It's
not.
just the English ones. Yeah.
Yeah, that's whatever. I don't care that much about different language cards.
Well,
I
if
just
it
want
makes
to
you
see
feel better, I whiffed on the Marvel heroes, so I wish I didn't open
that
them.
does that makes me feel a lot better actually. Yes, thank you. Appreciate
You
it.
saved on the $150 per box. There you go.
So let's talk a little bit about outsiders here. Not too much. I don't want to speculate too much on outsiders because
Yeah, we just
already
don't know a lot about it.
a lot of people are already putting out videos just speculating on the tiniest of details.
They're
which
fun
I'm not
videos, but yeah.
They're fun, but I'm not interested in like clickbaity stuff. So I'm just like,
Hmm.
it's 4 heroes. I'm psyched that it's 4 heroes.
Yeah. We're
Um,
going back to the Welcome to Wraith days.
what I'm interested in seeing is that it's a standalone set,
Mhm.
right? So if they're going to be adding some kind of talented, like OG hero,
Like a mech
talented
that's
Azalea,
Shadow
or
or something. Yeah.
like a talented mech, a talented Azalea,
Yeah.
how is that going to work in a draft standalone set? I
Hmm.
I'm struggling to kind of picture it because the last time it was obviously an Everfest, it was a supplementary set for Starvo.
Yeah.
That wasn't a problem. This is a limited set that's going to be used for Pro Tour, the only Pro Tour of the year. I
Yeah.
fail to see how you're going to create a healthy 4 hero uh, draftable set that people will actually be able to competitive play and enjoy. I could be wrong. Also, this is all speculation. Nobody knows if there's a talented hero.
Yeah,
No
I'm
one
gonna
knows
assume there is because we got the assassin that was talentless, right? In Dynasty. So I assume we're gonna get something that has a talent. I would love to see a talented Azalea or maybe another
It's
Ranger.
kind of interested also when you bring up assassin because like so good. Everyone is expecting more assassins to support outsiders.
Hmm.
Sure, but how many of slots and outsiders is dedicated to cards that don't actively support one of the heroes they're releasing? Meaning, if
Hmm.
they're not releasing an assassin hero, how many assassin cards are there going to be really in the set?
Oh,
You kind of get
probably
what I'm saying?
none. I would say none if there's no assassin hero,
So I'm
right?
just like, they just came out with Arachne. I understand that they delayed it. It was supposed to come out in Arcane Rising, but
Hmm.
obviously, it didn't really work that way. And
Yeah.
they were going to put it in Outsiders, but decided to put it in Dynasty and tie it all together.
Hmm.
There's been some crazy stuff back and forth, but I'm just like, okay, so
Yeah.
I don't know if there's going to be. So, will like they just released Arachne is going to be a new assassin hero in
There could
Outsiders?
be a new assassin hero with a talented assassin pool and like a generic assassin pool. That would be fine. I think to your question about how they're gonna make a 4 hero set work with talents, they can do something again similar to Monarch where you had 2 talents across 4 heroes, right?
Mhm.
I don't really think it was that much of a fun drafting experience, but
I thought it was fun.
it worked. I mean, I ranked Monarch pretty low in my draft sets. I remember.
You?
Um, yeah, we did that with OK and Y thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. I
anyway,
remember.
I'm just saying Monarch was a good example of how that worked. So I think it's possible. It's definitely in the realm of possibility.
I think it is. I don't know. Obviously, we have like zero details about any of this, but this
Yeah.
will be the first time they bring a talented hero, like an OG talented hero, to a standalone draft set.
Also,
I am curious.
I was gonna say the art kind of bothers me because like this person's left arm is like so stubby compared to the right arm.
Outside of the aesthetics, Rob, you gotta look deep down on the inside here.
It's just like looking at the art. I'm like, I don't think the art's bad, but it's like, why is the arm so stubby? So
Well,
you can wear stubby hammers.
there's like an extended image of that though. So there's like
I
I think
gotta
it
look at
keeps
that.
going somewhere.
Anyway,
Um,
besides the point entirely.
Expansion booster set in July. Scroll down a little bit here,
Blitz
and
decks.
standalone in Q4.
So they're releasing
Blitz
this with
decks.
the Blitz decks, just like they did for
I
every
think
other set.
people, yeah, people figured out that there's 4 Blitz decks, so there has to be 4 heroes. Like,
Uh,
me, I
is
don't.
that where that came from?
Yeah, there's in the product, especially like on the pre-orders and all of that. There's 4 Blitz decks, so
Okay,
there's just
okay.
4 heroes. I
I
think
yeah.
James might have mentioned 4 heroes somewhere, but in one of the
Okay.
articles or
So we're fairly certain. Yeah.
we're fairly certain it's 4 heroes.
Uh,
Which I'm excited to draft 4 hero set again. I like 4 hero sets more than the 3 hero sets. I think they're a little bit more.
mhm.
They give people more options in general.
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to see if they go back to the Uprising style, where it's 14 draftable cards, a Marvel card, and a token,
Hmm.
or the kind of 15
Like
of
prior to that.
every single other set. I think 14 card drafts are kind of bad in my opinion. I think
Mhm.
giving someone one less card uh, means that you're really narrowed in here on your the flexibility of your opening 5 or 6 cards is very limited. I think if you don't
Right.
like nail down your deck within pick 3 or pick 4, you're at a loss here because you're not gonna have those 3 extra cards to like potentially balance out your deck. Like Phoenix Flames doesn't work for Icelander. Um,
Yeah.
so I think it's a little bit. I'm curious to see if they're gonna go with that style. Like Marvels aren't going away anytime soon.
No.
So if they're going to go with the 14 card plus Marvel plus token kind of thing, so like 14 draftables, or what they're going to do here. Everfest Unlimited Q2. I forgot this exists. Forgot this
I
was
am
existing in the first place.
Man, I was so surprised to see this because I was so sure that they were gonna wean off of the unlimited part of
People,
Everfest.
do
They
people need Unlimited Everfest? I
like
guess they must. No,
oh man, because
I've seen a lot of people like requesting to buy stuff like Stalagmite. I think there's
yeah, but it's
demand for
still like 40
specific cards.
bucks Canadian. I mean,
No, it's like 60, 65
it
now.
went
It's
up
jumping
now.
up. 70.
Okay,
Yeah, because
but
nobody's
that's an
opening it.
equip. That the Ram's head is like 70 bucks, right? I don't think it's terrible that Stalagmite would go up to 70 bucks too. I don't think it warrants an unlimited set. Now I will say that the Runeblade cards are pretty expensive. Your Revels and your Swarmings, those are
Yeah,
still like
Stormy's
holding
because you can
strong
use.
at 15 bucks
Yeah.
on non-foil. The foils are like 20 bucks Canadian, so like
Some of
15
those
US.
some of those cards, yeah, some of those cards are spiking a bit. I know the first this round's on me started spiking a bit and saw
Yeah,
some.
yeah, that's a good
Uh,
point. That's a $15 Majestic, but having
yeah,
$15 cards is not the worst because they're staples that you can run in multiple decks. They're kind of like they're not CNC level, but I guess they're now there's a bit of a comparison, and
yeah.
the $15 is not that much. I think releasing unlimited is a bit maybe too much diluting. Um,
I don't think this set's gonna sell. Who's gonna buy this set?
well,
Like
actually,
okay,
that's a good
card,
point because first edition of Everfest is still at my LGS. They can't
yeah.
sell first edition for $100 a box
Who's
Canadian.
gonna buy this per map for like 105 Canadian or whatever it is in
Yeah,
US?
I think it's a
80
mistake.
bucks.
I don't know if maybe in the States there's a shortage of first edition Everfest, but I
Yeah,
could
maybe.
find that here all day, I think. I'm sure every LGS around me here has it in stock.
I don't know. It might be to do with print runs. Like maybe the print because they haven't
It was
come
a
out with
lower
Everfest.
print run.
It might be lower than people are expecting, and so they might figure once people figure out what the print run is, these
They gotta
cards might spike.
beat them to the punch. Yeah, yeah. It's like, well, okay, never mind. Here's some more product for you.
Yeah, but like
I don't know.
if this is in History Pack 2, it can't be in History Pack 2. Like
No,
it
there's no
can't,
way they would
right?
release History Pack 2 with
And
Everfest
then
cards and then
yeah,
unlimited. That sounds like a bad idea.
yeah, it doesn't make
It's a good question. I'd be very interested to know why they have unlimited for this because they could have easily not done unlimited, right? And first edition Everfest would be kind of like it's kind of like the unlimited, right? There's no distinction anymore because you only have the one set. They have the cold foils as part of it.
hmm
I think that the print run was healthy. I think that the market or the players took it in pretty well, and there's some left over, but that's okay. I don't
hmm
know if we should or if they should add more. It's because unlimited too, right? It's no cold foils unless they're gonna
It's
do
not
something
that.
special, right?
Yep.
Unless they might do something special with maybe having some Marvel in there,
hmm
but I think that it's gonna be a very underappreciated product. People are not gonna like. Why would I open this if I could open first edition for the same price?
Yeah, or just like 10, 10, 15 bucks more, and the cards are actually worth like just more in general.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't.
yeah, EV
Um,
wise, it's probably gonna be really bad.
it'll probably be like a softer product. I don't really know, but let's roll on to the last topic here, which is Wishlist for 2023. I mean, you
Yay.
already let off with it. You might as well keep going. You were talking about a little bit about that PVE action. So why don't you explain what you're talking about?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know if this is gonna be a specific product for PVE. I think it might as well be. Um, Maybe something that you can buy to run at home too.
Like a
Um,
fifth edition, like just like a general like D&D set, where they have like you get the book
this
and you get the little map and you get
Yeah,
the
it could be something that is very like living card game esque, where you buy it and you get all the stuff for it. You don't have to like open packs to pull out like, chase
it's like a
cards or
board game,
anything.
like a card game. It's like Arkham Horror, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, something like that exactly, like Gloomhaven, stuff like that. So I think having maybe like a $20 set that you buy and you get everything in
Which
it.
is cheap.
I would say something cheap like that. Yeah, there could be a kitchen table level where you buy them and just play, or there could be an LGS level where only the LGSs get these kits, and you have to go to a store to play. And you assemble like a group of friends. You show up, and there are specific promos you can win for
Mhm.
beating whatever it is, a boss or a raid, a dungeon, that kind of stuff. So I think there's a
Yeah,
lot of room. Like there's actually like infinite possibilities with this. Like I can't even imagine what they're gonna do. But I would like to have
it stays in the works though.
yeah, it's in the works. So I would like to have a version where you can do it at home, because some people just can't go out that much, and you still want to do like a co-op type esque board gamey type of deal with like your wife or your family. So yeah, that's kind of what I with you. I mean, my wife
Yeah,
plays. I don't
okay.
know.
Yours does, but a lot of
Not a lot
I
of them
probably
don't.
speak
Yeah,
for a lot of other people who
that's
play this
true.
game. Their wife wants nothing to do with this game.
Yes, that is true. So yeah, that's what I hope for at least for PVE. I guess we can take
Yeah,
turns. I
no,
don't really have
for
another
sure.
idea, so you can go first before I keep talking.
Well, yeah, I'll just add out like I'm definitely interested in seeing what the hell these like random cards like Silver Palms and like all the merchant class, like all these really
All the
random
merchant
cards.
stuff.
Everyone's
Yeah.
like, no, no, everyone's just oh yeah, no worries for PvE. I'm like, is it?
Is it?
Do
Watch
you
it
know
just
that for
not be.
sure, or is it just a bad card? Like I still don't know. Like Silver
Just
Palms is a legendary, by the way, but
yeah.
I think people like say that and they just have zero idea why it's for PvE, or they have like no
Yeah.
inkling. It's just funny to
It's
me.
an
They're
easy
like,
cop
oh
out, right? A bad card comes out, it's like,
yeah,
well, it's possibly good for PvE, so just stock up.
or it's just like or it's like Bard
Yeah.
or not Judge. What's Typanus? The
Drakai
the
of
Cry of Judgment, right?
Judgment. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but what's his actual like hero type or
Oh,
whatever?
I had him here.
I don't care. Adjudicator maybe.
I have one. Let's find it. You can keep talking.
I mean I do.
I'll interrupt you at some point.
Yeah, so I don't think like I think there's like a bunch of or the Guardian, the Draconic Guardian dude, Yoji or whatever. Like
Okay.
yeah, apparently he's for PvE too. I'm just like,
Okay.
okay, so they've set up this like pretty big base
Yeah,
of
he's an
PvE
adjudicator.
cards. Yeah, Adjudicator. Yeah, I was
Adjudicator.
right.
Yeah.
And I'm just very interested in seeing like these just they don't look like PvE cards. They look like Ultimate Pit Fight cards, which I'm just like,
It's a
okay, that's
thin
not
line,
PvE. Like like Ultimate Pit Fight's Commander. Like for any of the Magic listeners, Magic viewers, that's his
eh?
idea of Commander. It's Ultimate Pit Fight. It's literally the same thing. Like you have a little phone in the middle. You have 4 life totals. It's the same setup. It's it's Commander, but Commander is not PvE. Like it's not
Yeah,
co-op
no,
either.
you're right. They're different,
Uh,
entirely different things. Yeah.
very different things. And so I'm just it's like okay, yeah, Yoji, blah blah blah, all these. Yeah, it makes sense in Ultimate Pit Fight. Also, funnily enough, nobody knows what the rules are for Ultimate Pit Fight, nor am I convinced
It's a
anyone knows how to play Ultimate Pit
barren
Fight. Like
wasteland where there are no rules.
I saw, I remember one of my locals was talking to me last week about the Worlds event, which was an Ultimate Pit Fight event. That you needed
Oh
like a raffle.
yeah, yeah, that
You needed
was
a
yeah.
okay story time, story time. I hope he's not gonna get pissed at me for telling this story, but
Yeah.
or like taking it from there, or maybe he said it already. It's from Jay from on
Mm.
the Baubles.
On
Go
the
check out on
bottle.
the with Jay and Yuki there. So this is from one of my locals. Essentially, he spent a bunch of time building this Ultimate Pit Fight Viscerai deck. It's like an OTK deck, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they did the raffle. Jay he didn't get the raffle, but Mateo, though, one of our other locals, did. So I gave him the deck to play.
Yeah.
And then you were playing, and it's OTK Viscerai. So essentially, he like blew his load, right? Like he tried to kill everyone all at once.
Yeah.
And then he killed two people, and the last guy was like, "Wait, you can't kill me. There's a cooldown period." It's just like there's like a like if you can't kill everyone in one turn. Apparently, like you have to wait
That's a
one
thing.
turn to kill the second one. And that's a big problem because OTK Viscerai, as you
Well,
know,
now it's
once
dead.
you go off, you don't
You're
have a
done.
plan B. You
No.
don't have a plan B. And so the guy called. I think they called the judge
I'm
over, and the
so
judge
surprised.
confirmed. The judge confirmed that that was a rule. They then proceeded after the game to look through the entire rule book. There is no such printed rule in Ultimate Pit Fight
Yeah.
where that's the rule.
Who
And I'm
thought
just
of
like, wait,
this? That's
the
He
guy
just
just
made up a
essentially made a
rule,
rule up, and the
and
judge
the judge
didn't want to
went
seem like
along
he
with
didn't
it.
know. The judge didn't want to seem like you did know. He probably didn't know. To be fair, he might have not known where to
Yeah.
find the rules for Ultimate Pit Fight for the
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
place.
It's a good point.
I just kind of went with it. But like with that kind of pricing on the line, I'm just absolutely. I was my eyes were bawling out here. I
Was
was
this
like,
for the
my
alpha
God.
draft, or is this something different?
No, it's for the world's Ultimate Pit Fight event, the one on Sunday or something
What
like
was
that.
the prize for this? It was a
It was a
cash
lore,
prize?
lore book. Maybe it was like the appreciation
Oh, it
kit or
was the
something.
lore book. Okay, yeah,
No,
yeah.
no. I think there were like special prizes or something like
Okay,
along those lines. They said it
still
was going to be like special prizes.
okay.
I just thought that was hilarious and a perfect
Oh
representation about
man,
what Ultimate Pit Fight is right now.
yeah,
Nobody knows what's going on, which is fine. But I think that needs to be fleshed out a little bit more. I think PVE needs to be something like D&D esque. I think that's
yeah.
going to make the most sense. I think it's a very rich lore. I think they came out. Lore book's
The
fantastic too. Like
IP, the IP is huge. Well,
I
not right
think
now, but it could be.
it's not huge, definitely not
It
huge,
could
but they're
be.
building it from scratch, and I think it's like
Yeah,
quite nice. I think they've built out quite a nice couple zones, like some good
yeah,
hero. People really get attached to the heroes. It's a hero-based game,
yeah.
right? It's not a creature-based game. It's a hero-based game. And you know what else is a hero-based game? Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinders. Like these are all hero-based games, right? I think something of that, like coming together with your companions. This round's on me kind of style. Like everyone's coming together and I
Yeah,
think that would be ideal. And then there's like a boss, and like the
yeah,
TO is like some kind of dragon or something. I don't know. I think there's issues with that because, of course, D&D is, as we both know,
yeah.
does not get finished in a 3-hour session.
No,
So
that's a good point
um,
too. Yeah, it take a
it will be
long
interesting
time.
to see what PV is. That is also one my
Yeah.
wish.
Um.
One another wish I can add on to that is more interspersed products that are not just core sets.
Right.
So classic battles, but better. I don't think Classic Battles did what it was supposed to do. I think it came in at a high price point, came in with some pieces of perceived value that they thought people might want, like the cold foil Dory, the weapon, the
Yeah.
cold foil Rhino,
But
the weapon.
as we know, those are not.
No,
They
they
have
don't
not
sell
held
for
up any value. Yeah.
the value of that entire set is summarized by glistening steel blade hilariously. You have
Yeah.
now All you've done is you've created a card that helps Dory a lot. Doesn't give Reinar a single pack call. It gives him pack call. That
Yeah.
doesn't give him a single strong power card. It reprints Alpha Rampage because everybody needed more Alpha Rampages. And I think it just missed the mark entirely. I think the mat was fine. I think the little booklet was
There was a mat.
fine. Yeah, a little paper mat that
Oh,
came
the
out.
paper mat. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Right.
I think it was. I think it was a. I'm gonna give him a 2. I think it was a good first try. I know they had good intentions.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they need to do better,
Yeah. I
and
think they
that
will.
is
Yeah.
because I think a big problem with the Flesh and Blood right now is they have not attracted enough of the casual market.
Yeah.
Magic has Commander, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Pokemon have their IP, they have their anime, they have their like external casual scene
Yeah.
going on. Uh, Flesh and Blood has none of that. They don't have the
Mhm.
historic IP. They have no back. They have no like anime show to go back on or any kind
Yeah.
of like establishment. These other games are 20 plus years old at this point, right? But
Yeah.
the anime 25 plus years.
Yeah.
Um, FaB's doing everything from scratch, and I respect it. But like, I think they really need to target casual scene more. I think PVE will help a lot if executed correctly, and
If
I think
done
that's why
well.
they're taking. I think that's
Yeah.
why they're taking the time because they know this. They know if they misfire in PVE, they're screwed.
Yeah.
I think I think the competitive growth rate of this game is fine, but I
But
think
it's not enough.
I think to reach the levels that they're thinking of to not make this game a failure. By failure, I don't mean like it'll fail.
Yeah.
I just mean like it's not going to break into the top 3, top 4 as
Right.
far as successful card games, right?
Right.
What I mean is like big 3, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, well, not in that order, but those
Yeah.
are like
Those
probably
are the
more like
three at the top
Magic,
there.
Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh are the big ones, and
Mm.
then you got like the other guys on there. You got like Weiss and Digimon
On the
and stuff.
fringe,
But
maybe One
yeah, on the
Piece.
going
Yeah.
in and out. Yeah, maybe
But
One
the
Piece.
thing with all those games, though, I guess Weiss too, but they're all driven by the IP. They had
They're
the
all driven by the
IP,
IP, but I'm saying that's what FaB can't rest on its
Flesh and
laurels.
Blood. Yeah, it doesn't
It
have that
can't rest,
luxury to be
no,
propelled
it
by
can't.
a known IP. So
So like
yeah,
I would like more products, side products. And I don't
yeah.
mean the stupid brushed sleeves. Like, okay, I get it. Putting Mirka on a sleeve's cool or whatever. I don't mean like more of those products. I mean like actual products with like
Products that
cards.
I think if there are products that help propel the IP forward, those are going to be pretty key. I would
So
love.
I'm not talking about the Prism statue either, just in case anyone's like, oh,
I still want
there's
that, but I think more world building things. I would, if they came out with like some kind of like, might be stretching, but like a comic book series, something to give more of a story. I actually love when they come up with those kind of snippets before sets where they give some more backstory on like Viscerai. You saw
Mhm.
some stuff with like Lexi. Like that was really cool. I would love some stuff about that, even if it's like an art, a web comic, start something up, or
I
you
think
can sell it.
the lore is underexplored. I think the lore is
There's a
definitely
lot to
underexplored.
explore. Yeah.
I think
So
they're trying, and there's a couple good YouTube channels that actually are like more dedicated to the lore.
yeah,
To be fair, a lot of competitive players don't give a shit about the lore, but the casual
yeah,
players do. Like
yeah.
I care about the
I would
lore.
care if I saw a
Dope.
comic with Reinar in it or something like that. I would love to read it. Like I'd love to know more about what he's actually like, because now we just
I'm
can
to
only
collect first
imagine.
edition FaB comics. Yeah, speculating on first edition FaB comics.
First edition.
Um,
No, I just want to read
but
comics, right? So I don't know,
yeah,
stuff like that. Anything involved with the IP could be really good for the game.
yeah. No, that's totally true. I need to expand beyond that.
Wasn't there like rumor about like a Netflix thing? Is that just a rumor?
Yeah, it ended up being a Prism statue.
That was
That
the
was the
thing. That
rumor.
was it.
Yeah. When they did the little opener on the thing, remember in the bar? Oh, you weren't there in the bar. Okay, so
Well,
they
you're
did
talking about
like
the banquet for Worlds.
yeah, the World's Banquet. So
Yeah,
they
I wasn't
unveiled
there.
essentially the that they're working together with the studio that with
Right,
New Zealand that's involved in a bunch of stuff, and then they prop up the Prism statue.
right.
Everyone was psyched for like because they were talking about studios and productions and stuff. Everyone,
Oh,
that's a series like a something that said
oh,
like something similar to like Dota or Mad like Magic has one. Like it's
yeah.
something similar to that, right?
Okay, okay.
Are like going in the sea. Like League has one now, League of Legends, right? So they're
Yeah.
all going in that direction. Everyone's super excited. And they just prop up the Prism statue. It was like,
Oh,
what
what a
the
letdown.
fuck?
Although it's a beautiful statue, I want one. But
Look,
yeah,
my
I would have preferred
statue.
a series.
I just love how they debated the shit out of us
Yeah, yeah,
in the banquet hall,
yeah.
and it was just like very limited statue, like one in
100
one
of them,
tenth.
I think.
I don't know, but I'm not gonna pay like 5 grand for it. I'll tell you that right
Oh,
now.
if it's that much, no.
Um,
I'd pay a few hundred. Yeah,
that's like the second wish list thing. I
yeah,
think that's really it. I think like
yeah. Same.
as I said before, like more spread out battle harns. I would like some more love to the West Coast. I know there's like
Yeah,
some events here and there, and I realize the West Coast is really 3 states plus a province in
yeah,
Canada. Like I understand that,
yeah.
but maybe some in the Midwest or like
Yeah, there's your
maybe more like
Indianapolis.
okay, like not the Eastern Midwest, the West part of the
Okay, the
Midwest. Like
Western Midwest.
yeah, like
Oh.
Salt Lake City, something like that. I know there was one in
Well,
Denver. So
Vegas was
I'm not
pretty
thinking
good,
of
right?
yeah, the Vegas World Premieres are always good. I really like going to the World Premiere. But like
Hmm.
Vegas World Premiere was great. I mean, the experience itself was meh, but I liked going there
Right.
for sorry, not the experience itself. There were parts of the experience that were executed very poorly. I
Mm.
think the event overall, like I think that Team Blitz event was not run very well.
Okay.
I'm not gonna get into that. But my point was like the actual uprising part of it was great.
Mm-hmm.
I loved every second of it. Getting to like draft it with everybody for the first time, drafting Uprising. Like, I was part of the first draft for
Yeah.
Uprising. Like that's great. That's a great thing
Yeah.
to like remember that set by. That's probably part of the reason why I like it so much. It's just like you have that attachment to it that sounds dumb. You're like putting attachment in cardboard, but like you know
Oh, I'm
what?
very attached to my cardboard.
I know. I'm just like I have just a softer spot. Like a lot of people just are just sick of Uprising, and I'm like I cannot stop drafting this stupid set, even though
Mm-hmm.
I know it's got problems.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like there's a lot of sets that I can't really do that with. So I think that's probably like it for me as far as like
Yeah.
wish list. I could probably go on and on, but I'm gonna end it there though.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I think it's an exciting year for Flesh and Blood. I don't know if it's going to have that explosive growth that it did in 2022. I don't know how well
Mm.
it's going to replicate that, and I'm not holding my breath. I'm
Yeah.
being more pragmatic about it. I think
Honestly, I
the
will
pieces
say
are in place.
that for the explosive growth point, it's actually fine if it starts to plateau and just kind of steadily grows. I'm okay with that.
I don't want it to plateau. I think if you
I
plateau
didn't
4
mean
years
like
in
I
the
didn't
game,
mean yeah,
I
yeah.
think you're in trouble. 4
Yeah, yeah,
years.
sorry. I mean like instead of doing like this, it kind of
Slow
goes
down the
like kind of
growth.
goes like this, right? And that's actually okay.
I think that's what we're doing. They're keeping the $1 million prize pool. They're shifting some stuff around here and there, making it more accessible. I'm just hoping they follow up with hey, casual players, here's a bunch here's some
Yeah.
products for you guys. Here's some more different kind of
Yeah.
events and things you can do at the I really liked the welcome event package
Oh
at
yeah.
Worlds. Like that was I've never seen that before, and people were there. People were doing it. The seals, it was very good value too.
Hmm.
Shit, I almost bought one of those things, like just for the welcome to Wraith packs was
You're
good
right.
value. A little mat stuff like that. I think that was great. I saw some new players get in there.
Hmm.
I think the way you're going to get to casual players is you have to get the group. You have to get the whole friend group. I think it's
Yeah.
hard to like pick one of those players in a 6-person friend group or 4-person friend group and make them the one who has to market this thing to their friends. Like
Right.
I don't think I don't think it's gonna do it because the other 3 players are just like, ah, screw this, let's go play Commander or something
Hmm.
or do something else, right? I don't think you for the last couple of years. I think the onus has been on that one friend in the friend group, or that one person who's come across a random Rudy Rant video or something like that, or
Yeah.
someone who's seen whatever, and they've been like sucked in,
Hmm.
and now they're like they feel like they need to get their entire friend group, otherwise that's the main people they play with, and if they succeed, and if not, they just quit. And I think
Right.
like that's a bit of a problem. I think you need to capture more than just the one person, and I think the way you do that is kind of put a little bit more emphasis in the casual scene. So I'm hoping we're gonna see it. I'm hoping like these new sets are cool enough to bring in
Hmm.
more players and hopefully stop stop
Yeah.
any kind of churning of the older players that are getting bored or anything like that. But
Yeah.
that being said, that's FaB going into 2023. So if there's anything anyone wants to comment, maybe their experience with 2022, what are they looking forward for 2023? I think that'll be interesting to know what other people think. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? Do you have like different kind of takes that maybe we haven't gone into some pieces of FaB? Shit, maybe you just want statues of every hero. Let us know.
Hell yeah.
I'd be down with some statues. I think a chain statue would be really fun, really cool. Like the adult chain with the full thing coming out. I know just a chain simp. I don't know, but
A little bit.
yeah, just let us know if you like the content. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Of course, anyone listening on Spotify, you can follow us on Spotify. Can you subscribe on Spotify? Man, I really don't
I,
have
I
Spotify.
don't know how it works.
Uh, oh, there it comes out. The truth is out. Uh, this will definitely be. I'll make sure this one's on Spotify. But
Yeah.
that being said, appreciate everyone for watching. For wherever you are watching or listening in the world, have a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Bye for now.